Hey y'all, thanks for tuning back into Chicanic. Hope everybody's having a great week. Do not go anywhere because today we are going over some things you might not know about chainsaw bars. Now, I didn't think I needed to make this video, but then I get comments like this.
Step 1, make sure you didn't install the bar upside down.
Now, I get comments all the time with people trying to school me, but even when customers bring their chainsaw into the shop to be sharpened and they pick it up the next morning and the bar is flipped upside down, they think it's on wrong too. That's because people really think that bars can only go on one way. Now, I believe some people think this because years ago they did make bars that you had to only put on one way. The tip of the bar was actually curved up to where it could not be flipped over. Now, I work on chainsaws that are 40 to 50 years old, and as long as I can remember, they've made bars that you can actually flip over. Now, they do this because you get twice the life out of your bar if you flip it over every time you sharpen. So to show you what I'm talking about, this is a brand new Husqvarna bar. This is actually a very good bar, but this is brand new. So you can see this is where the bar oil will travel down your bar. It goes through this little hole right here. If you flip it over, yes, the label is upside down, but it has the same hole. That way you can wear it evenly on both sides as you're running it. Even on this very, very old McCulloch, you might have no hole for the bar oil to actually go in. That's because it travels over the top end, so it doesn't matter. You flip it over, it's still gonna travel over the top end. Everything is exactly the same when you flip it over. Another quick tip while we're looking at these, if your bar does have a hole down here at the sprocket, you will want to grease that hole. Even on this old McCulloch bar, it had a hole down here, but some of them that you might not find a hole, it's still wise to put some kind of lubricant grease down in here and spin it around, get it in there, because these do run at really high speeds and it will definitely help with the longevity of your bar. Now that's two things you need to do every time you sharpen your chainsaw. You need to flip the bar over, that way it gets weared evenly on both sides and gets you that extra longevity out of it, and grease your tip. But that's not all. Bar oil plays a huge part in actually cooling the engine of the saw, because if your chain and bar get too hot, the heat will travel to your piston and cylinder and you can possibly burn up your saw from not running bar oil or your chain and bar not being lubricated correctly. One thing to check is always the hole where the bar oil actually goes into the bar. So on all saws, it will have a little channel where the bar oil gets pumped up to it. And on your bar, you'll have the hole that lines up to it to where it will let it flow through your bar. Now, some of them, like I said, on this McCulloch, they do not have that hole, and that hole coming out of the saw will actually be right above it here, so it will just ooze right into the top and lubricate it correctly that way. Now the third thing to check is your bar oil holes on your bar. If they are clogged up with debris, they will not let any bar oil go through, and it can lead to excessive heat and a burned up chainsaw. Now Stihl put these quick adjust side covers on a lot of their chainsaws. If you have one of these, when you take your bar off, it will have this gear here that tightens the bar and chain. You will want to remove this one screw right here. The whole thing will come off, and you will flip it around to this side and be able to screw it in that way. That way you can flip your bar over on these. Next, you want to lay your bar on a flat surface, and you want to make sure that it's not bent. You'll see that this one is completely flat like this, but this one I got right here, even though it's flat, curves up at the end. So that one's already bent. Also, you might want to avoid cutting with the tip of your bar, or this could happen to you. And last, you need to check the track of your bar, where the chain actually runs down it. If you look real close, you can see on this one, but I can't show you really well in the video, there is a V groove cut out from this bar being so worn. Eventually, it'll start leaning, your chain will start leaning over to one side or the other. Now you'll want to dress the bar, and what that means, you will just put it on your grinder and flatten it out, preferably straight all the way along, and that way it will run evenly, because a lot of times it'll start wearing on one side more than the other, and that'll make you cut crooked. You'll also check for any kind of chips that are out of the bar. Hopefully they're not too deep where you can dress them out, because that will actually catch the chain as it's spinning around. end, you'll want to do the sides because over time the burr will start to grow on this. That will prohibit the bar from going through the wood smoothly. So those are the steps to do every time you sharpen your chain. Hopefully this video saves you time, money, and frustration in the future. Thanks again for tuning in to Chicanic. If you haven't found us on Facebook yet, find us at facebook.com/Chicanic. Find us on Instagram at The Real Chicanic, or find me at Chicanic.com where you get your own t-shirts, hoodies, and long sleeve shirts. Thanks, and have a great day.